friends. In First Peter chapter 4, he starts off by saying, "For as much then as Christ hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of God." In other words, this is a strong reminder of the fact that even though we have been born again and we have a deep desire to please God, our spirit has a new nature, and we're never going to be happy and satisfied doing things that are displeasing to the Lord. But even though that's the case, we are not just a spirit. It says that we have a soul. And he is saying, Peter's saying, we have to recognize something. We're going to experience desires to do things that are contrary to the will of God. And so he's saying, I love the way he put it in 1 Peter chapter 2. He says, "Dearly beloved, I beseech you, as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against your soul." In other words, what that's saying is that there are desires that we're going to experience that are contrary to the instructions that we have in God's Word. And he's saying, I'm beseeching you, I'm pleading with you, abstain from those things because they make war on your soul. In other words, God has a wonderful purpose and plan for our life, but we're not going to be able to experience the benefit of that purpose and plan if we're going to be pushed around and dictated to by our fleshly desires. And so he's saying, listen, don't be surprised if sometimes you have to suffer the discomfort that comes from resisting the temptation to do things that are contrary to the will of God that's been revealed to you in his word. But he's saying, listen, if you don't learn how to develop this discipline in your life of learning how to say no, even when it's not comfortable, even when it's painful, learning how to say no to these desires, recognizing and realizing they want to ruin your potential. They don't want you, you have an enemy that doesn't want you to experience the full benefit of what God has in mind for you. One of the big things he has in mind for you is to be full of joy. And that's why Jesus said, hey, if you abide in me and my words abide in you, it's very important that you realize that we need to abide in him and allow his words to abide in us. And he said that when we do that, he said, I'm telling you this so that my joy will be in you and so that your joy will be full. We have to always remind ourselves that even though something may seem enjoyable and pleasurable, that's contrary to God's word, it's always going to leave us. It's going to make war against our soul. It's going to make us feel depressed and despondent because our spirit wants to be in charge. We don't want to just allow our flesh to tell us what to do and spoil our potential. Think about that this week. God bless you.